Hello, and thank you for stopping by the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I am Thomas Metal 75 here for your Massachusetts beer reviews with a Milwaukee Beer Classic Miller High Life in a IPA glass. That has the remnants of this Jack's Abbey IPL in there. Despite the fact that I already just had an IPL, an India Pale Lager in this glass, the great thing about this glass is how it holds the head throughout the entire glass of beer. And the review is, again, Miller High Life, which was introduced into the world in 1903. You know its ad campaign, it being nicknamed the Champagne of Beers. Its bottle typically has the Miller High Life logo on it with more of like an X kind of a etching around, or an X, almost like a ribbon around the neck of the bottle. And it says Champagne of Beers, and it looks like a champagne and all those good things. This is a 16-ounce tall boy. The 6-pack of these at the Wines and More located in Walpole, Massachusetts was $6 and change, but it was under $7. And it is November 27th, 2017. Obviously, at the Halloween 2017 review of this, that is not when this was brewed, or bottled, or canned, so this is the best by date, which is still good. I will read the serving facts of the beer, but mind you, the serving facts on these cans are in silver, which is terrible because they are glossy and they shine off everything, and they are hard to read. But from what I can read, I think I read per 12 fluid ounces. It is 141 calories with 12.2 carbs, not health conscious. No fat, less than 1 gram of protein, and is 4.6% alcohol by volume. And again, this is 16 fluid ounces, which is a pint in America. It is 0.473 liters. Union made by the Miller Brewing Company, St. Louis, Missouri. No, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I don't really know, and Jay Terriot or others, let me know in the comment section below. Because I know Anheuser-Busch is a pretty major operation, and they have breweries throughout the United States. So let me know if you know if there are more Miller Brewing Companies or breweries than just the flagship in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And this beer brand was started by Frederick Miller, an immigrant from Germany, and he started the Plank Road Brewery. And the Plank Road Brewery came to prominence, the name itself came to prominence in the early 90s with the beer Ice House. It was one of the first, if not the first, commercial ice-brewed lager in the United States of America. I got a box of Fuller's Vintage Ale rummaging around here below my feet. So yeah, Plank Road Brewery, it was this little house, and then it became this big enterprise, and they still have a makeshift little house that kind of looks like the Plank Road Brewery. So yeah, Ice House was under that Plank Road Brewery name in the 90s, and was Southpaw and Southpaw Light, and I believe Red Dog. I don't think Southpaw or Southpaw Light are actual beers anymore, but definitely Red Dog is. Not as common as the Ice House beer, but Red Dog is still around. I don't think there was, if there was a Red Dog Light, I've never heard of it, but I don't think there was a Red Dog Light. but this is Miller High Life. So let's review a Miller High Life. And Miller, I don't know if it's all Miller beers or it's just this High Life. They use a Galena hop. And they claim that this Galena hop that they use is light resistant and is the only, or at least it's either the only hop variety in the world or one of the only hop varieties in the world that are skunk resistant. And you're looking at a golden colored beer. It is very clear and it is very see-through. With here and there streams, this IPA glass does have an etching, but champagne of beers, not so much. Foamy, soapy head. Definitely could be a touch of an influence from this, but not so much. Definitely a creamed corn sweetness to it. To me, there's a touch of a roasty malt in there. White bread, grains, cereal notes. Wet paperiness to it, cardboard. But the Miller beers have this house yeast strain to it. And this typical maltiness that some of the other adjunct lagers and the other American adjunct beers don't have to them. So that looks like a proper glass of beer. We have all the contents of Miller's High Life can. And let's try it out. Cheers. Definitely sweet. Definitely cereal graininess to it. There's definitely white bread. There's a combination here of a light white bready malt, of a very light toasted malt note in there somewhere, and a ever so slight fruitiness to it. Ever so slight fruitiness. And the fruitiness is sort of undiscernible, to be completely honest. It's not really tropical, and it's not really a West Coast or an East Coast, or, as Boulevard Brewing would put it, mid-coast in any IPA kind of note. Just big cereal grains, big sweetness. And yes, there is a nice light bready malt in there, which is sort of Pseudo Pilsner in Germany, if you will. Mouthfeel. That's the next most important part of this. And I normally don't say it on my channel. I normally just go somewhere in between light, medium, and full-bodied. But I'm going to say that this is on the high side of light, but it also has a very rich and full mouthfeel, if that makes sense. For an American adjunct lager, I think it does have a full, rich mouthfeel. 141 calories could have something to do with that as well. It actually has a lot more carbonation on the tongue and in the mouthfeel. Oh, there was a bubble. Than any of those tiny streams of bubbles make it out to be. So yeah, crisp, refreshing as all hell. It's an American adjunct lager. There's nothing really wrong with the beer's flavor. There's nothing disgusting about it that would make you turn it down. The cleanliness, well, I guess you could say it's fairly clean for what it is. It sort of ends up, the worst part of the beer is in the finish. It sort of ends up in a little bit of an adjuncty mess, which isn't really too great. It sort of ends up being, yeah, It sort of ends up having like almost a light soury twinge to it, with that light fruitiness and the creamed corn adjuncty flavor at the end of it. But because of that, it gets a B, just a 3.5. I guess out of 5. That I don't have a problem giving it an 84. I guess that's my main complaint with the beer is that finish is just a little bit on the adjuncty, grainy, nasty side of things. Yeah, you could see where those flavors would contribute. I can kind of see, I guess what I'm saying is I can kind of see where they could brew this beer and then undergo its ice brewing process to essentially create icehouse beer, I think. But, I mean, icehouse beer and this kind of have a similar grainy yeast component to it. Again, I find that a lot of these Miller product beers have a similar grain or a similar house yeast component to them. And every time I've had, I think I don't know if I, just get it in the can, I guess. That would be a truer flavor. Whether I like it in the can or the bottle better. I've had it more times in the bottle, but the can is just fine. Cheap beer anyways. So yeah, 84 I'm going to give it. What I like about the Miller Brewing Company beers is typically they are more malty than the other beers like an Anheuser-Busch or a Coors or a Molson or a Labatt's. If you get the dark lagers from Mexico, they actually are going to be a little bit more malty than this. But for an adjunct lager, this is pretty good, and I would seriously compare this to Pabst Blue Ribbon. Although I think in my recollection, Pabst Blue Ribbon might actually be a little bit cleaner and not so adjunct in flavor in the finish. So go try that one. I bet you have. And just on a side note, I believe that Pabst Brewing Company is still its own individual company, but has some kind of a joint venture with Miller, where Miller Brewing Company will help them to brew their beers. Not that they have any sort of an ownership or any, monetary. I don't know what the monetary rights are between the companies. I suggest asking Jay Terrio at Louisiana Beer Reviews, or researching that further, because I'm not really sure about that. And I'm not one to talk about those kind of things on this channel unless I really know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Miller High Life. It's the champagne of beers. And it gets an 84. Sort of a weak finish, but a strong start for an adjunct lager. If you have any more beers I should review on this channel, please post them below. And again, this has been Miller High Life. Keep tasting those great beers. Cheers. Happy Halloween 2017, and we'll check you later.